Sanjita wor nin killing banko membu ko Gambia ka fansoto bal sanjita wor nin killing tuba kan wala mo do ku kan ti nim banko kan tuba kan wala ka fu député bu ko men kan député wol tombo wol ka tuba kan fu député wol mo talul nin sabale député bu ko woli ka kan men fu kila ya molti abako ko men ye kini tata kilar yala e ka men fol do ko moy pa ko ital be it left men wala ka fujeba.
The multilingualism is a new approach, it's a new pedagogy in teaching. Because some times ago we only taught our children in English and their mastery level of English may be very low and teachers would struggle to explain certain things that are phenomenal. So based on that, the University of Education of the Gambia, by then it was called the Gambia College, in collaboration with St. Mary's, decided to hold a pilot with the multilingualism. So as you heard from the children, we decided to have 2 to 3 trimester lecturing multilingualism. So when you lecture such, you must evaluate. When we evaluated, we've seen that now the students tend to understand more when the languages of the children are spoken in class rather than limiting only the medium of communication through English.
For the multilingual studies or incorporation of multilingual into schools, I will vote for that. I'm an advocate of that because I experienced it while growing up. My early classes in the primary school, primary 1 and 2, I was taught in mother tongue. That is my L1 Yoruba. All my subjects were done in Yoruba until I got to primary 3. So what am I saying? Up to today, I see it as the bedrock of my sound education. I always look back to say, if I had not had that opportunity, I know for sure that I'm going to struggle.
Multilingualism aina fa soto bakele me yalan ko akuma yata na karambungol to na society to karambungol to ibajala ko classroom ol kono dinno dol beje it participate no wala it dabula no la wala nyin kono ite miral kendol sitare bulu bari ta samba no la na mun kammala katu teacher ka kan men fo maybe angale kan bang wala arab kan bang askeno to mo faham baake wo dalilo kan e katara derin kalaso kono bara manke ko miral kendo katare bul yo bannin kan be sai silo detail pour ye fo kalaso kono baaji la dindin miralo men babudo asa samba no nanne ata batandila adun akafunyol fanante jelelala.
This is something that I have written about so many times, spoken about in different fora, that we need to go back to our languages. We need to learn to read and write in our languages. We need to give priority to our languages. You see, it is unfortunate that many a time we, when I say we, I mean society, views the intelligence or otherwise of people by how good they are at speaking English language, which is certainly unfair. Because if a child is born and the parents speak Mandinka or Wolof or Pular to him or her until he or she reaches 7 or 8 and then goes to school and then immediately starts being taught English language, and then you are expected to be perfect at English language, that is somehow unfair.
I'm obviously really pleased. It's always a bit difficult to organize events and know how it will go. But more than the attendance, what I was really impressed by is the contributions of the people in the room. I did expect that the discussions would be fruitful, but what's really happened today was far beyond my expectations, with people calling for for people to rally behind national languages, to really take action, to lobby. So in that sense, I'm really, really pleased. So yes, it's about good attendance, but also about the quality of the discussions that we had.
Kurang bisan wah janggama kurang bisan ya matrenelo iyan dem marong iyan den jai kai wai iyan dem marong suma iyan dem marong kai wai kurang bisan wah janggama merna la big wajal sumanje ke na se yo ya maton iyan kilime na fonye bang fan tv iyan kilime na fonye bang fan tv iyan kilime na fonye bang kasiti kadomo wallahi iyan kilime na fonye bang iyan kilime na fonye bang.
Thank you very much for granting me this interview. I am Mr. Michael Hamariseka, a former Curriculum Research Evaluation Development Directorate Officer, but now I'm at the UEG lecturing English and Research. Okay, this workshop is meant for dissemination because we conducted a pilot. And when you conduct a pilot or a research, it is already accomplished when you come to dissemination. You try to share with people about the findings of the pilot. So as a result of which we decided to hold this workshop. As you may know, the multilingualism is a new approach, it's a new pedagogy in teaching. Because some times ago, we only taught our children in English, and their mastery level of English may be very low, and teachers would struggle to explain certain things that are phenomenal. So based on that, this approach came. The University of Education of the Gambia, by then it was called the Gambia College, in collaboration with St. Mary's, decided to hold a pilot with the multilingualism. So as you heard from the children, we decided to have 2 to 3 trimester lecturing multilingualism. So when you lecture such, you must evaluate. When we evaluated, we've seen that now the students tend to understand more when the languages of the children are spoken in class rather than limiting only the medium of communication through English. So therefore, we said now we want to sell it to the government, to the people of Gambia, to tell them that well, multilingualism has come to stay. So if we can have this now covered in the primary school, in the ECD, in the madrasas, in the upper basic school, in the senior school, up to university, then it will be very key. But you can see there are some challenges. Let's say number one, teacher education. Our teachers need to be trained to use multilingualism in teaching. They may know the theory, but to execute the teaching is another thing. We must also have assessment. Our children are only assessed in English. They are not assessed in their first languages. So there is more prominency in English than our local languages. We can also see, when we look at the alignment, that is the external alignment, what the children learn in the school is purely English. So when they come to look for job, normally the advertisement will say, mastery of English is an advantage. So to an extent, our first languages are not considered. So it's high time now children start to respect and feel proud of their first languages. Our local languages are as important as English. English is by no means better than our local languages. Languages carry culture. We must understand that. Language is not only for communication, but it's a carrier of culture. What we do, what we practice, our traditions, our cultures are all expressed in language. So our different language groupings show our different traditional and cultural practices. So this workshop is purposely for dissemination. That's why different stakeholders are invited. We have an honorable like Uncle Sidia Jata, who has been very instrumental in national languages in the National Assembly. We also have MOPSI, who was represented by Mr. Musaba, the principal director of Region 2. We have IPANET, one represented by Keba Jayusi, who talks about education for all. And we have also, even from the Writer Association, that is Mr. Musaba, the principal of Upper Basic, and different, organization. So that's what the workshop is all about.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن والاه. أنتم دكتور يحيى فاتيلتي senior lecturer Monti, University of Education di Gambia, nunto e kafme Gambia College. So natani programme manager multilingualism. Ay nafa soto baakele me yalan ko kummayata na karambungol to na society to karambungol to ibajala ko classroomol kono dinno dol beje it participate no wala ite dabula nola wala nyin kono ite miral kendol sitare bulu bari ta samma nola na mun kammala katu teacher ka kan men fo maybe angale kawlen bang wala arab kawlen bang askeno to mo faham baake wo dalilo kan e katara deirin kalaso kono bara manke ko miral kendo katarebul bu katarebul akaterebul yo bannin kangol be say silo dite la pour ye fo kalaso kono baaji la dindin wo dindin miralo men babulo asa samba nonanne ata batandila adun akafunyol fanante jelelala yo ni nata dino fanana karola ko nga fo nyame dino femba to la Gambia jang abe safaren arabu kawol yo adum muslimo men siyata jang wol ma arabu kaw moy yo pro nga dino to nyama soto fo moliye soto meye men yen kan fulol be moy arabu kaw ma saniya tema yela kan fana moy men susu wa saniya tema so isaje nin dino men fo arabu kaw to isa translate no ya fasar moliye ay saniya isaje wol fanansa barano anyanta barala nyame banni de arabu kaw man saniya ila maninka kaw man saniya iko welak dare kitabo fasar la moliye maninka kaw to obviously yokumala falaje mem man soto so woto ni multilingualism ni ala programo ni ay nafa soto bakele na ado la karola dino la karola karambon la karola so mbay ñinem ko mo summarize doron mbaltol fanantent la Fine TV alla mabe o jang kanani programo ni cover because al kamol kamol jangayande mam futa dame al kanna ko kom futande wolet wata tol mo ambassador lati society ye be duwala alla TV ala male baraka keje ala male al so nyato tala alla makamolo ala male ya yirwandi sallallahu wa sallim ala habibina al mustafa yeah ka kumaya yeah kumaya yeah wo mo fando yalati because jannibe wande kawmo lay ite nye tale folollo yo wala asabu manin ko ni bodulalon ike tadulalon wala asabu history kumayata in the sense that e kalo temu jumalati e bota jumanyol le bala do kema ko le be mala society kono nyaadile for example ni la alfa le keta mo kendot keta mo so bewti sato kono ni te fanan keta hakkilimati kudo sine sonno mo de be ngomala le kake kati fala to dia ni ba mala to dia ite sonno wol to e kuya yo tubabol le kamu ila kamalati arabol le kamu ila kamalati ndol fanna kamu na kamalati ala le kamul beda annabi mo jamaabe je wol manke arabuti few of them wol mo arabol adon ala ne ka communicate e ka communicate kanjuma alla ila kan be mbaadama manke arabuti na hawa manke arabuti bor ala ne communicate iblisa manke arabuti ani ala communicate directly so e ka mune fo ila kan pour mo ila kan wala muitati ni mela kan moy dia ko be wandi ta moy la ni me ta bunya ebe wandi kan bunya la adi be mem ta kan bunya la o mala ita mujumal Angleterre ko be siri la Angleterre tol be jam hani angale kan fo fa diara ko skuro ay nafa monela mbukal meti kunewde dano mbukan na sula fengol sotono fonge bonena banku do kayena yo problem oti so nganna kan soto nyame nyanta na londo fanan soto la culturally wonya sa felen be ka tuba wala ba wala don naylon aben fala kandial be taral nanundo alfal kamuneke kotondo ya seneja ya a process ya photo bondi ya ke bunati mte fo merol jele men kake mama muso kakele ya ke bunati ya wurundo ke juloti ka fa kenda yena wo julota ya ke daroti dar fano de da wala fataro ya karanyo bala ya ke dendi ko blankando ya do yeddo ke daba kurto tubabu lu mamala won pio kotinner 100% kotinner wat asi jata kende adila asi nafa fana na domorol fana beten parsa yale wodumo sandoro ni weje ka fo ko boto kono mano ka sunkan wolen tubab manot to si ka bar e ka balu munela bara mano parsa en bara mano hani jaran kol fo buka sotono asi ata dame mo we kete boto kono mano domolat so bayala ko abenna jata kende atalala abenna dependency la fala tubabo la site la because dimon jato man kende ya dimon be boro jama import lana adum borol manke import na wolbe kala foka jay borol I will give an example 2016 ala inde man tata Netherlands tata 2 weeks program ne madam ndaw bemena men na jati ma ko nyete paracetamol san bare san ya samba ba nte amra just ordinary paracetamol le nka ya manjara paracetamol be farin gambia ko no no nyindu mankilen paket kilin sando ya sam akilin san asamana bar hani kumbalmo le dimi niyami ikamra ya wutu balal paracetamol kese kilin kam tala ko do nya warale na ko mon fe i dawda ye min dimi niyami ikamra dimo utuje so ya woni nem foka jay tale da yeah so nanun to mol nanun to kebalo wol mallop tanlo kasala ya wutu ya fajindi yame kinkili ba ya faji jamba katang ka ba jamba katang ke ba katang di moy ka jamba katang me ifanan ka ke ba ya wala nyama ila jar kende aka la fa wala nyama baninde jamba katang samana wala ngakatinya ko mo samana ba fajinla altul be wente jibe la kon dem local bare man ti ba ta ngabula adun ti ba fana mu nyamol in fak ya da nyamo mene malo ye mun chemical le adiye malo banyi numu fresh wanol ya kata wulo kondrong ya fengere ya fajindi yami no side effect at all so ngine mu ya marote mbemen dila wala nganna ya muta ngan ya dum be lorin abe dendin kanwalla ya mo kolcho wala mu kanwata ni aje sa ndinen bu kan ngoma ka kuma jawo fo because email kanwala value le long e ka kumo do fo ma koto long ay memmin fa jaw yata fa man jaw ite ka moy silol kan drong ifane yafo bar nini alfal sire ni ka kacha ibaran nako kumo men nini fulon be sire ba fole bolon nale kumo me ba fole do mañole bolon nale kumo me ba fole koto mañola ni fañole bo fanan be lon nale bar bi mo mawolo abulata da kon nyame aka fol nyame ko samala adolo ya so nyina mo yamare ndewti me alon ko nga soto alse hako boyni nim kumo kuliyata because diamo ata mandiya always niya fo askino do barma jana e do niyo kuyandi jana baro manken na nganiyoti na nganiyo menti wala afrika e balu mo findu e balu mfananga ke ko moli yabe nyame almala en sumantabe ala baraka ala baraka.
My name is Dr. Clyde Onkano. I am a senior lecturer in linguistics and education at King's College London University, and I have been working on multilingual education in the Gambia since 2008, both in terms of academic research and then more recently I've been working with UEG on developing teacher training focusing on multilingual pedagogy in particular.
Thank you so much, Doctor. We've seen that earlier on today you've called on for a workshop and it was well attended. How impressive are you today?
I'm obviously really pleased. It's always a bit difficult to organize events and know how it will go. But more than the attendance, what I was really impressed by is the contributions of the people in the room. I did expect that the discussions would be fruitful, but what's really happened today was far beyond my expectations, with people calling for people to rally behind national languages, to really take action, to lobby. So in that sense, I'm really, really pleased. So yes, it's about good attendance, but also about the quality of the discussions that we had.
What message do you have for the general public as far as the symposium on multilingual education is concerned?
I think that, as much as I feel really strongly about education and language and the topic of multilingual education in the Gambia, because I believe it's a matter of social justice and epistemic access, so access to knowledge, I'd rather focus on some of the things that have stood out for me today. And here I'd like to mention something which Honorable Sidi Ajata mentioned as well as others, so namely the need for people to rally behind the national languages. Today in the symposium, I don't think there was one person who disagreed that it is outrageous, shocking, sad, maddening, the list goes on, that Gambian children continue to be taught in a language that they don't understand, or at least don't fully understand. But really, for the situation to change, there's a need for people to really rally behind the national languages and to really start embracing their value. So I'd rather share what to me stood out today, rather than put forward my thoughts, which I think would be less useful.
Doctor, now that this workshop is done, what next?
So in terms of our teacher education work, we've finished the 2-year pilot, which we talked about today. So what we're working on is formal embedding in the curriculum, so both in the English Studies department, the ECD department, and the Islamic Studies department. And on the other hand, as far as what other activities, what really we want to be working on is working with more colleagues in the Gambia, but as well internationally, and that's why we'd invited, for example, Dr. Munaren of the University of South Africa. So really having further discussions regarding multilingual education in the Gambia, but in other contexts as well, be it in Africa or other education contexts.
What final message do you have for those watching with regards to the symposium on multilingual education?
I think my final message would be really, really simple: is keep up the good work. I've heard about a lot of really good work today, both in terms of policy development, in terms of teacher education. I've mentioned, how innovative really what the colleagues at UEG were doing, and also in terms, and that's why we got together today, what the teachers themselves are doing day in, day out in the classroom. So that, I think, just keep up the good work, really.
Thank you so much, Doctor. It was a great pleasure to be with you. Thank you.
La muelale, itamu sidia jatalse. Mame mina kachala na banko kangala kumayal.
Sa kulubule mune di a workshop o symposium ni mina kumaya
Akuma atabake katu don kete men na kangali ani karandir nya karandir lal nyanda mun ferle kala kangal tamando la class mu kono pour ndul ko fam la nyame ni don kete wala kambi yalon wo mu kulti me yalon ka kumata bal kulon fana me yalon ka koliyata bake kati folo karandir la naɓe ɗi ndul mako nola ka angale kan kumolu fahamu beteke kilin ɗi ndul ɓen ɓe kalam classe o kono ɓe ka kan kilin fo parce que no kan jamala ka fuje oto nin ticca fana ɓol mako oto ticca fana ñanto kan ɓe moylane bal woski askeno tika ɗoli kala tika tolji kanal ɓe moyno bal ɗoli tumaɗo ka kan kilne moy na sata kam fula woto ɗum omo kole a bunda balati o menñinin ka woto ɗum na karandila ni laftan na kangal la karandilo kummayandira woto mbe molle karandila kangal fangal la folo yo long o kolangane karandi kote ke iɓe o kangal karandila ñaame so karandi fula ñantole kala karandi la ñante karandila i fangal la kangal iba safelo ñaamen iba karanda ñaamen pour ye faham o kolay sina ñene karandi ɓe tiki ɓe karandi la ñaamen ɗin dewol la fana oto ɗo kubaale ɓen ɗum aɗuma ɗo koni komi Masakunda e karandi ñakoto bondi bara iɓe pare kam pare on te ñakoto aɓe desalim bakel kaatu iɓe suulara karandir laal melɓe karandir kala ñim bankon kan o kangal la ɓay kan woro wulan boole karandi kabo ECD kata grade 1 grade 2 grade 3 fo grade 4 tical men ɗo kela aɗum min kangal be iɓe men karna ɓeɓe karande o kangal to tubaw kante fola je oto ɗum men ɓo karande o ɓe siyala bakele je ila ñin département la moɗo bafal jam mo wulinali ñon aɗum temaje folo ɓe mo karandira kuula askeno koye ɓe ke kam mbay maje ñaala bara man ati kenola fana dan ko ɗogon karandiroti kaatu ñaamo e wifon karandire yaalone ɓay teɓe men karandile te fanga moolo ɓe jamala karandinolola woto a karandirote ɓe nolade woto ɗum folo min ko ñum koye baraka min ɓe karandiro ka wolle fangal ñanta karandila beteke yo kooli faham koye ñanta fahamla ñaaɓe ngane karandi kote ke iɓo kooli karandila ñaaɗile oɓe kummaya tan so woɗo ko woɓe laatani ana fulan jam fana yalum sayin be ko Gambia ba fam bulu sayin fam sanji taworo nin kili nyina lo sanji taworo nin kili banko membu ko Gambia ka fam soto bal sanji taworo nin kili tuba o kan wala mo do ku kan ti nyim banko kan tuba o kan wala ka fa député bu ko men kan député ol tombo wol ka tuba o kan fa député ol mo talul nin sabale député bu ko woli ka kanga men fo kilariya mollo molti aba koko men ye kini tata kilariya la e ka men fo wolɓe ko moy fa koytal ɓe ina lafta men wala ka fo jeeɓa yalo man koy to ɗo koole ɓe mboni men mo toñate ntel mu Gambiyankollete manque tubabuti ni karandillal min karambalol kafnomañum bankon kan isa fo no maybe keme wo keme mo tanne ka tubabu kan fo kemo kemo kanne ka tubabu kan fo la man siya jam men tam banko to ka tubabu kan fo maybe do ko la wol ka tubabu kan ina non fo kaytel be ka moy ibe men sa fe kay be ka lo yalon abu ko be nyone ne oto dum mira ko moti
Adil hani National Assembly dol ideas to me along ko kalafika kafo but because of language barrier ibu kafo no fo itia mira nin local language nyanda ka spread up to na National Assembly level
wa fanga ya folo ko isin fanga la kan fo no national assembly dikke dum ko bari nyanta kala luwalati bin 1997 nga fo ko ibe kandam kaatu yalum tubabu kan ay palaso di molla ni be mi la ba bakala o palaso ni ko don Kam kote long ikuyo kale falale. But tonya bring fan to the lumena. Manso kunda follow menna tela hamu follow nyande kala nyiloko. Sani nangam nyato tuba kama bole jambe nyaka le kala lo kuramati. Ala wala nyande kala. Ko man kene le mahana mira from so kafu. So bal nuako mbeka nyinde nyimbankun kan. Bari alwa kiruna ta fa fana ko he bari min man tuba kan moyta sa feno le baka fono ite keno le diptoti ite keno le president ite keno le councilor oto man kanyan wandi kala yembe yom fata wandi kam fola wol fisata banko kam fola o bin wato aba constitution fan a oto dum kula dum buliyalum de kam men fo moyen ko tonya dam ko ni nyeta bakel ko be ka kela le ka munya katu waya kendi ko modol be banta nol be ndi ke bulo kono ibe men nola je mel be tuba kama fokai ta nola ye nani o men sudu banko woli be tata do tuba kama fokan ndi ke bun kono e parete bata men na banko e kati bele na fakan o do nyonte ke bun bar bayi be ka tuba kama fo ila nyanto mu menti ya bale ye bala can you imagine ite mu gambian ko sike president ndete keno la tikati ite katuba kan ali wotuba kan wole ndel ke jomoti udo binga na joya aduro kunwo ko kan fo nyanta fala bal mu bo bal ndi kan silam fo sai ndi wufna fel di ibe sinno taka lo ko le bambude a odo katole nyante kala hanin kabi
Gambian wo do la minu yalon ko ila kan e kamonu le fon kafo kaminda ko ye ni foreign lawe je wala kuma yandi telephone la kan iti mu ya ngoro so fula woni
no yalon bari biri bindu be sanji saba e kali karandi tubabu kamal afa biwo tume ye karandi ila miro ila ko be ka ke no tubabu kamal inole ke baya dunda kalan kono fana e karanta fo university ita fo PhD so to fa o mari nele man karan ke mira afanga la kangoto kula men kumayata ko kuna kumayata mon tubaw kan woto dum o mari we hakendu ko afota afanga la kangala wala kende nabe diamu kilum fulan jamu ke tubaw kan sawan jamu ke tubaw kan meyo kende wala mo karandiri nyati alu mo kulti me alongo ay intal dendele bake kat folo ni tata kalam bulto comme il a result boti ni nam fana bare ngalon ko dusla ku bati je ko do ka fo ko mo wonni ma ye tolta tan uli tan pasa uli kambe ni peta yalo masi bolti a hotu ule ben kunna nyanda mira la bak kalu gambia man ta kan nyato de londo la kalu nyaada de la londo we sai kan ko odonna ta nyato fana bita kan ko ta ko molti de ba londo men kan mo nyato samba nyato mo be tinya kan de la banko kan odon ule ben mul ha
finally honorable ngalam bata kita sign mune be kala ya marla banti ko fula jiber lalie
benti don karan nal ba ko men man karan woltede karan nal mo nande nyin kele hamoto islam ko ja inte do ya kama men benna tene men ben kan lafta kuntula de fanga la kama islam ba katala ngakol be ko wala ngam mi wala ngakaram fana ka safe wala nyante ka mo bela hamoto sai min banko ka
berkabat honorable.
My name is Madam Olusheyi Fadairo. I'm a lecturer in University of Education, the Gambia, and I work in the Department of English Language. Well, for the multilingual studies or incorporation of multilingual into schools, I will vote for that. I'm an advocate of that because I experienced it while growing up. My early classes in the primary school, primary 1 and 2. I was taught in mother tongue. That is my L1, Yoruba. All my subjects were done in Yoruba until I got to primary 3. So, what am I saying? Up to today, I see it as the bedrock of my sound education. I always look back to say, if I had not had that opportunity, I know for sure that I'm going to struggle, because in the years, in my life experiences, I've seen I've had some mates that never had that opportunity, and now they struggle that the only language they have is English, and so they always scamper around words to use. But if a child is well grounded in the mother tongue before transitioning to any other international languages, whether second language or third language, is going to be very, very beneficial, and it cannot be overemphasized. Thank you.
My name is Usman Trawale, Mr. Trawale, ECD. I am an ECD lecturer at the University of Education, the Gambia, called UEG. Well, today I am here to attend a symposium on multilingual education. If you look at my profile in education, I am purely an ECD practitioner and a specialist, right? I have my diploma in ECD, higher diploma in ECD, advanced diploma in ECD, bachelor's degree, BA honors in ECD, and currently on my master's in ECD. So I am purely an ECD practitioner. Now, if we look at the multilingual education in the holistic development of children, it has a great role to play, because language is culture, language is the child's identity. Children learn and grow through 4 key areas, which is the cognitive development of the children, that cannot be facilitated effectively without being comfortable with an area language that children speak. If you look at the other domain, is the social development of the child. Language diction of the child's environment contributes greatly to the child's social growth and development throughout its life. You come to the social development of the child, the emotional development of the child. The emotional development of the child also, multilingual education, through language acquisition, facilitates and contributes greatly towards the emotional development of the child, because it makes the child feel good, it makes the child feel comfortable, it makes the child feel secured. Now, securing children is different from children feeling secured. Adults and caregivers do their best to make sure that they secure children. But with all those efforts, are children aware that they have been secured? Or do they have the feeling that they have been secured? What can easily inculcate that in the minds and hearts of the children is language. So multilingual education has a great contribution to the child's holistic development. If you look at the physical growth and development of the children, children cannot grow physically without being in a conducive environment. And the most conducive environment of a child is the environment where the child can listen and also be listened to. Child can listen and be listened to. These are two different things. For the child to listen, meaning other people are speaking to the child and the child is listening and understanding. For the child to be listened to, meaning now this time is the child who is speaking and other people are listening and understanding the child. When there is a language barrier, there is language difficulty, there is a challenge in language, this child may not be able to have that feeling, and eventually the child may be physically retarded. So generally, all said and done, multilingual education has more advantage for our children under 8 years old, that is 0 year, that is ECD. ECD ranges from 0 to 8 years old. So these are their formative years. And if you look at the children in the multilingual education, it is not something impossible for them, because they learn faster than adults. Children learn language faster than adults. Okay, one of the major learning areas that children can learn faster is the language. Right? For example, you as an adult, 40 years and above, You go to a different community, like a Gambian parent goes with his or her child to China, the community of China, where both of you have no background about Chinese language. I tell you this today. In a maximum of 90 days for language diction, it will take the child 90 days the child will begin to speak and understand Chinese language within 90 days. How long will it take you, the adult, to speak and understand Chinese language? So that shows how children can learn language faster. I encourage everyone to encourage the use and application and implementation of multilingual education in our Gambian schools and Gambian societies. Long live ECD, long live the children of the Gambia, long live multilingual education. That is the essence of this symposium on multilingual education. Thank you. Once again, Mr. Usman Traore, an ECD specialist, University of Education, the Gambia, UEG.
I am Victoria Oluremi James, lecturer at the University of Education, the Gambia. We are here today for this multilingual education symposium. Multilingual education is very important, and in fact recently it has changed my orientation, and even before now, yes, I do use it in my classroom experience, but then I have really understood that it is very, very, very important in helping the children to learn better. Okay. I'm actually representing the early childhood development unit on this training, and we have seen severally that children, they learn better when they are allowed to to learn, or when they are taught in their first language, which we refer to as L1. Okay, the L1 may be their mother's tongue, and it may be the language that they acquire maybe in their environment. But if this language is what they understand more, it is easier for them to really learn, and by so doing, it helps their academic performance. We have seen examples of children which sometimes we think that they cannot really perform, and it's not as if they are dull, but it's because the language that they are being taught is not a language that they are used to. So it makes learning really difficult, more difficult for them. So, but when they learn in the language that they are used to, it makes life easier for them. And that is why multilingual education is very, very important, even as the children, as they grow up, even for adults, not only even the children, even for adults. When you are not conversant with the language, and then you are being taught in that language, it's difficult for you. So, but multilingual education can actually make life better for everyone. Thank you.
My name is Musaba. I am a writer and a teacher. Currently, I am the principal of Mulum Ahmadiyya Muslim Upper and Senior Secondary School. I came to attend this multilingual symposium about the teaching and learning of different languages and how we can use our languages to improve the understanding of our students in school. I think it is extremely important. In fact, this is something that I have written about so many times, spoken about in different fora, that we need to go back to our languages. We need to learn to read and write in our languages. We need to give priority to our languages. You see, it is unfortunate that many a time we, when I say we, I mean society, views the intelligence or otherwise of people by how good they are at speaking English language, which is certainly unfair. Because if a child is born and the parents speak Mandinka, Wolof, or Pular to him or her until he or she reaches 7 or 8, and then goes to school, and then immediately starts being taught English language, and then you are expected to be perfect at English language. That is somehow unfair because throughout your life you have been speaking either Pular, Mandinka, or Wolof. So I think the first 3 years, the formative years at least, should be taught in our languages, the language that the child understands. In this instance, it is being called L1, which is first language. So if a particular child born of Mandinka or Fulani or Wolof parents goes to school and is taught in that language for the first 3 years, it will be very easy for him or her to understand the concepts that are being taught to him or her. So once the child now reaches grade 4, they can now switch and start teaching them English language. That will be the second one, not a first language. So I think this will have a great impact on the performance of our students, on the understanding of the children, and it will ultimately make our results better, both at Gabeke level, level that's grade 9, and at grade 12. And this, I think, should even continue up to university level, that the children should learn in their own language. You see, I have seen in other countries like Nigeria, like Ghana, they write the WAEC exam in their languages. One lady was just narrating how she even wrote the WAEC exam in Yoruba. So when I was studying in Ghana, I saw that they write these Akan languages. They write Chui, they write Fanti, Dagbani as was subjects. So I think it will be necessary for us also to introduce that, teach Pular, Wolof, and Mandinka, and then even examine it at WAS or WAIC level. This is very, very important, and that is why I think this symposium is extremely important for those in the education sector and the ministry in particular, because it will give the people an insight into how we can use our own languages to improve our education system. Thank you very much.
Hello everyone, I am Mariama Jallo, student of the University of Education pursuing Advanced Diploma Primary in Education. I am here to attend a symposium on multilingual. We are here to make Gambians aware that our language is not a barrier to our learning. Instead, it should be a bridge to help our learners. Yes, our languages, we should be proud of it, and we should be introduced to it in our early age, not at an adult stage where you have been forced to learn English as as the language of instruction during our schooling. So with the help of this multilingual, if it is introduced into the educational system, we believe that education will move smoothly and soundly as other countries. So if it is possible in other countries, why not the Gambia? So that is all what I have for you, and I thank you all.
My name is Tafa Jonga, a student from the University of Education, the Gambia, pursuing Advanced Diploma Primary in School of Education. And I completed my year 2. I am heading into my year 3. And it is a honor and privilege to be here today to attend this wonderful symposium. Uh, Honestly speaking, I learned great things that have impact in the society, and it will strongly help us in the teaching and learning process. I see that multilingual support students to be confident, to be inclusive and have the opportunity to express themselves in their L1, meaning their national language. Honestly, multilingual is something that can make changes in the school, whereby students are given the privilege to express themselves, to learn through their L1s, understand what is going on. Just to make it summarize, it is something that have a great impact in the teaching and the learning system. And as of now, I guess when we continue doing this or having this wonderful symposium of multilingual, at least it will help our learners to have better understanding of what they are learning. Thank you so much, Honorable. Once again, my name is Tafa Jonga from the University of Education, the Gambia.